Welcome to Hire Smart Virtual Assistant's newest edition of Company Spotlight. We celebrate the best in our clients and want to recognize them for the leaders that they are. We hope you enjoy listening in and that you're able to pick up some words of wisdom that you can apply in your own business. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. My name is Ann Lackey. I'm the co-founder of Hire Smart VAs, and today I have a great treat for you. I have Olimpia Gire. She is the broker owner of Noble Real Estate Services, and she and her husband, Jason, have been together and doing real estate since 2008 in property management. Now, they both have had tons of other real estate experience before that. They currently manage over 700 properties in the Chula Vista or South Bay area. And one of the things that I love about Olimpia specifically is she is a first generation U.S. citizen, so she brings a different perspective to property management. She was born at Mercy Hospital and raised in Chula Vista, so she's a true native to that area, and so she knows everything that there needs to know because she graduated Buena Vista High School and went to Southwestern College. And she earned her degree in business administration. So Olimpia, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you.
Hi.
So I met you, I guess it's been about a year ago now, at one of the property management conferences.
Yes.
And I know you had 1,000 questions. I remember you very well. I remember those first conversations because Olimpia would come talk to me for a little bit and then she would go away and then she'd think about something and she'd come back and she goes, okay, I have some more questions. And so that's kind of how you processed information.
Yes.
But eventually you decided that this might be something for you that you could do. So share with our listeners a little bit about kind of your thought process and how you went from being very nervous and scared to pulling the trigger and hiring your first VA, which you've had probably about almost a full year now, I think, working with her. So tell tell everybody kind of how you got over that initial inertia of, oh my gosh, this is scary.
Yes, it was very scary. And but I had actually met your husband at a previous seminar.
Oh, okay.
I think at the NARPM conference. Mm-hmm. And two companies were next to each other. And so I would go to him and I would go to the other one. Well, why are you this way? Why are you this way? And then, Neil, right? Your husband?
Mark's my husband. Neil's my business partner.
Oh, okay. So what's your husband's name?
Mark.
Mark was very soft spoken and I thought, okay, so I didn't sign up, but I was like, okay, wait a minute. So then when I met you and that I love the mom that you are, and I said, okay, well, I think this lady's for real. Because I had talked to a lot of people. You were probably like the fourth company that I interviewed. Okay. And I'm getting older and I'm very weary of people. And I'm not as trusting as I used to be when I was younger. So when I met you, you're like a fireball to me. And I thought, okay, well, I think she's on the right path. And so I signed up. I signed up right there. Mm-hmm. Once I met you.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, I always tell people either really gravitate to Mark or they gravitate to me because we are very different
yes.
in our approach. I mean, I think we're both, get driven kind of people, but he is much, like you said, softer about that.
Yes.
I'm like, you just need to do it. There's no better way to do it.
So. I know. Well, one of the things that you said that made me jump is that I told you I'm very scared, and you said. We were very scared. I was very scared, and we did it with no one behind us. I'm going to hold your hand. And I was like, oh, you are? He said, okay. So then I felt like I could trust you.
Did I fulfill that promise for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you actually held my hand a little bit more than I wanted to. Because I appreciate that, though, because you're very precise.
Yes, I always want to make sure I deliver on the promises that
you totally delivered on the promises. Yes, I appreciate that.
Because that's something that I think, you hit on right away is that, certainly there are lots of different opportunities and things that can go great or not great when you're dealing with staff. Because again, we're dealing with human capital, right? And I don't care whether your human capital is a tenant who you've screened really well and they move into a home and they have a car accident and then now can't pay, right? I mean, it's kind of that same kind of thing. Or you have a staff member that gets ill. It's kind of the same thing. I really have a lot of parallels between what I do in staffing and what we do in property management, because again, we're dealing with human capital.
Yes.
But it's always been really important for me to be able, just whether it be in my property management company or whether it be in HireSmart, to be able to say without a doubt that says, look, we're not perfect, but I will make it right. I will do everything I can to make sure that our clients are super happy. And I will give you as much information as you want. Like you said, probably a little bit more, but that just information is power for me. And the more information you have, whether you use it or not, doesn't really matter. You at least then can make those decisions. So I'm very happy that you're a year in at this point and feeling great about the success of what I've done for you. So thank you for that. Kind of share with us a little bit, because this is a question that comes up like all the time. What does your virtual assistant do for you? Because that's probably the number one question I get is like, well, it sounds good, but really, can they do everything? Are you telling me they can do stuff that they can't do? So tell us a little bit about some of the tasks that you have done with your virtual professional.
We work with ShowMojo, and we have another virtual company that's our leasing line that I'm trying to wean out, because I did sign up with both of you at the same time, but they were more of leasing, and you were more the back office. But I'm more comfortable with the way that you work, and what we're using now. Our virtual lady in the Philippines is she does all of our follow-up, and she does all of our ads.
Okay.
And I time her, and it was very difficult to have those ads done here at the office, and we have 3 people on staff, and everyone, I had a schedule for each one of them. They were supposed to do an hour. I don't know how I could not get a full hour from all 3 in an 8-hour day. That was 24 hours. No, but not 1 hour. So now I have the virtual assistant that, by the way, I think I did tell you I want to get a new one.
Another I'm happy to help with that.
Yes, not a new one, but another one. And I was I'm very happy with the way she follows up, and because the other company doesn't do follow-up. So we get a list of people, and she calls everybody and pre-qualifies them. She knows our scripts and does the ads.
So that's great. So she's actually probably reduced your vacancy then, if she's able to do that type of follow-up. Would you say that was part of the success?
Yes. It's very rare that we have things in standing inventory. We work on a 3-day turnover, so we're quick. Oh, wow. And if something happens, my husband's on the Skype with her, and we got to do this. We got to do this. So she's very attentive to that, and I think she's caught on with our philosophy of getting things occupied quickly. I've seen other companies that wait like 30 days, 45 days for vacancy. If we have 5 days vacant, it's too much. So she's really helped us on that. Yes.
Well, that's great. I wish I could say I was at 5-day occupancy. It kind of depends on the time of year. Right now, some of mine are lingering a little bit longer than I like, even though we do the same thing. Like Bonnie gets, a viewing. She calls the next day. Did you see it? Because we do total self-showing without ShowMojo or any of the other tools. And so she'll ask, are you going to apply, blah, 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 blah. And that really does shorten that time period, because they think, oh, if you're this attentive with a showing, aren't you also going to be attentive with my maintenance, and
Yes.
are you going to care about all the other things that go on? Because I
Mhm.
think tenants are still a little nervous about that. Is this company going to take care of my requests in a timely manner? How are they going to treat me? Am I a person or am I a
Right.
number? So I know for me, it was a huge game changer. Well, that's awesome. So she does a lot of the pre-listing type stuff and all the
Yes.
follow-up. And, I think something else that you said that was very kind of interesting and telltale is that, she gets stuff done that you couldn't get anybody in your office to do.
Nobody. I mean,
And
it was like pulling hair. It was like you know, I said so many times, okay, if you guys don't do the ad, I don't need you. Because it's just like that. That's the way. That's our lifeline.
right.
And now it's taken off the stress. We do have a lot of work to do, and they still are very busy.
Of
They just
course.
didn't have that time um, to give the ads, and now our virtual assistant works the morning as soon as she clocks in at 8:30, and before lunch, and then goes to lunch, and then puts ads up again.
Yeah. So
And
you
then,
got a nice routine for her as well of
yes,
time blocking, which is always helpful. I don't care what role you are in a company. If you don't time block and have certain things at certain times, you'll be pulled in 1,000 different directions. So that's really smart. Um, what has how has that impacted your company? I mean, again, we talked a little bit about shortening the vacancies a little bit more and taking that load off, but what other kind of surprises have come from hiring virtually versus hiring someone locally?
well, um, we did have a fourth person in the office,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes my staff says we need a fourth person, and I said, "Yes, she's in the Philippines." So, I really like it. I mean, payroll has gone down,
Mm-hmm.
taxes have gone down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to worry that she's going to call in sick. Actually, our lady has never called in sick.
It's
And
rare. It depends. Sometimes in the high typhoon season, it happens, but
yes,
to me, it's a lot rarer than it was locally.
but locally, I mean, the state makes you give them 3 days off to
Yeah.
be sick, and so it's like it's expected, part of the game. But she hasn't, and it's really nice that she is here when we are out. So, like for the holidays, um, we had her work during our holiday time because we do still have a lot of showings during the holidays. So she kept on going, and it's. I always think of the business as a train. So the train didn't slow down; it kept on going, and that was a big plus because we couldn't have had that with someone here in the office.
Good, 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 good. So, what advice would you give to someone that's considering hiring a virtual professional? Let's say they were where you are a year ago. What would you tell them?
I would say give them a little bit of work.
Mm-hmm.
If you are as skeptic as I am, give them a little bit of work and then see that they will produce. And it's scary because you see the people in the office and you see them, you know, Facebook, the telephone, a million things. And what I do is I have my staff up front, so they kind of babysit each other. Um, they're on the Skype when she's on the Skype, and if there's any questions, they're communicating. And all three of my staff are on Skype with her,
Mm-hmm.
and so that helps her to come into the office and feel more part of the whole of the whole team. But I think giving her small things. At first, what I wanted to do was to get her my check reconciliations because that's what I do. And it was just like, oh my God, like if I could give this away. But I haven't done that yet. I am still very skeptical of that. You hear so many stories. Like I tell my husband, Donnie and Marie worked since they were 3, and they're still working because somebody took all their money. Or Elton John, like you'd think that he he'd have all the security, and his manager took all his money. So I hang on to those thoughts, so I just give a little bit. But I've been very happy with the process with our young lady. Sometimes I think things happen because we're human. Like, we can't get rid of that, and we get into a rut. So sometimes I jump on. Hey, how are you? What's happening? And she'll like perk up, and I do a lot of those surprises. Maybe not as often enough, but I think it's really one other thing that I saw another property manager, very well known, and he was saying about virtual assistant, and he said that his employees in the office said, "Why do you have them?" Like, maybe they were feeling a little bit like they were going to be their job taken away, and the man said, "They don't call in sick. I don't have to deal with vacations, and whenever I ask anything, they say yes right away." And so that made me think too, like, yeah, that's what happens. And I don't know if it's part of your training or part of that we got lucky with our virtual assistant, but I think it has a lot with you, because of the other companies that I interviewed. They were a little bit laid back, and I'm not too much of a laid back person. Actually, there's nothing laid back about me. So probably in your interviewing and selecting this person, it really worked out for us.
Well, that is probably the biggest difference. I don't have a room full of VAs that I say, here's 3, pick which one you like. Right. I mean, I actually go and source and hand pick, interview, do all of that, do the background check. Because you talked about security, and one of the things that I think is super important is that we do an FBI level background check on all of our staff. And you can't do that in every country. You know, that it's very transparent that that's just not doable. But that was important to me. And the other thing that I realized when I was going through this myself is that there's over 1 million workers in the Philippines working for U.S. companies. Well, that's huge, right? I mean, the Chase Financials of the world pick the Philippines to have their call center. They're probably pretty smart. Why reinvent the wheel, right? So, you know, those were all some of the factors that we went through when we were trying to figure out what country to use, because there's several, and some are actually cheaper than the Philippines, but the Philippines had the nicest blend of English speaking, cultural fit, price point. I mean, they're certainly not, again, not the cheapest, but their labor rate is very cost effective. And, you know, we could have a huge social impact. You know, last year we gifted all of our VAs healthcare for them after the 5 months of service. So that reflects itself in the retention for our clients, right? Because it's a need. It's a very expensive for them to get on their own. We actually just got a nice thank you letter, literally over the weekend, that said, "This has been such a blessing for my family. I wouldn't be able to do, you know, to have had this happen. It was a medical condition that was fixed over the weekend had we not had these resources. So thank you for taking care of us." And, you know, again, that kind of goes to our core values of always wanting to deliver what we promise, which is we want to pay our people very well. We want them to be engaged, and really kind of connect with our clients in a way so they are really considered employees without the employee implications of all the other stuff. So what other last piece of advice would you give someone, or would you want to tell the world about it? And then we'll kind of close out the interview.
Well, one thing that we're working towards is to send her one of our phones and have her work on our database. And we've had a lot of growing pains in the office. I haven't had time for that, but I think if I do that, it will be huge, because we do have a maintenance, and it's interesting that people complain about maintenance, and it's a moneymaker for us. So I want people to get maintenance. It's not that I don't want. And interestingly enough, people complain because they don't get maintenance. But it's a moneymaker for us. We're contractors as well. So that's my next step. But I have been truly very happy. And right now the holidays, and it's been crazy, but I made time because I'm really appreciative of you, of the way you are, and even though you seem like, but you're very sweet. But I appreciate that. I really feel comfortable with you that my stuff is being taken care of, and that you're responsible for it.
Well, thank you, Olimpia. Well, listen, if you guys want to have a great property manager in the South Bay area, I certainly would recommend that you reach out to Olimpia and her team, and her details are going to be at the bottom of the screen as well as on this next slide. So thank you so much for being a part of our family, and we do appreciate it.
Yes.